When we are in that band of fear because we haven't dissolved our own baggage that is hooking into the fear, when we dissolve that and we unhook from the manufactured fear game, only then can we feel like we have true choice to respond to what is happening in life. When we are inundated by fear, it feels like we have no choice. It feels like our back is against the wall, we're in the corner, we're forced, and that's how most people feel. And I know that from the one-on-one work I do with hundreds of people. When fear is strong, people feel like they have no choice in life. And it's not the truth. We have divine will and choice in every moment, but we're just, unfortunately, as individuals and as a species, too full up of noise.
Yeah.
To be harnessing that divine choice to drive this ship in the right direction.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Going Out Looking In, the podcast where we're exploring the human experience through conscious conversations. My name is Maxi, I'm your host, and today, as always, we are diving deep, and that is with one of my favorite guests. That is with one of the most powerful women that I have ever come across and that I've ever met, and that is Christina Rose from the Phoenix Humanity School. She is one hell of a human, one hell of a woman, and she joined me from beautiful Greece to gift us with these downloads. I know that the first episode that we did together was very successful, and many of you reached out to me, actually found Going Out Looking In through that episode. So if you haven't checked that one out, I encourage you to do so now. Or actually, maybe first listen to that one and then jump back to the other one. However, it was a beautiful exploration once again of love and spaciousness, why love is often misunderstood, and Chrissie's unique take on it. We talked about the future of humanity, that's a big one in this episode, and just a lot of bringing awareness to what fear does to us as humans. And why it is the downfall. We are on the precipice of the new age, the new era, ladies and gentlemen. To everyone listening, this is important. And whom you are surrounding yourself with now is going to be crucial for where this whole ship is sailing towards. We all have it in our hands. And I just really encourage you to listen to people like Chrissie, to spend time to surround yourself with people like powerful people who see the light in the world instead of the shadow, who feel the shadow but who just don't really dwell in it, right? We need your light, people. That's what we need. And this episode is a testament to that. So without further ado, I bring you the powerful, the beautiful, the wise Christina Rose. So just inviting you and myself and the listeners to, if the environment allows, to close your eyes and take a moment to become even more aware of how it is to be you today in this beautiful flesh suit of the body, this time capsule for a soul, and feeling, if possible, the ground underneath the feet. And if you're sitting, just the your skin touching the surface of whatever chair or bench or anything you are sitting, just like a scientist inviting you to feel into, okay, oh yeah, I'm touching the Pachamama here, like, ooh, I'm supported. I can feel her holding me. And with that awareness, just a whole bodily sense of everything that is present within you. Letting the breath come and go in the natural rhythm. So there's nothing to do here, there's nothing to achieve, no agenda, no boxes to tick. It's just this moment. Just now is enough. Just inviting us to take 3 deep breaths together, in through the nose and out through the mouth. In 3, 2, 1. Anali. Skilama. Anali. Skilama. One more. Anali. And release. And last but not least, just offering some words here to get us into this beautiful space of a conversation. This is the Lady's Prayer, my favorite prayer. Such a beautiful prayer. Our Lady who lives at the heart of all form, hallowed be thy name. May thy kingdom come, may thy will be done, so that heaven may come to earth. Please allow me this day to drink from your sacred silver spring, and forgive me my forgetting as I learn through your grace to return all non-love with love. Take me by the hand and lead me step by step into the patient valley of your heart, for yours is the earth, my body and my life, forever and ever. Amen. With that, inviting us all back into the space, letting the air inside and the light. And how exciting and beautiful it is to be yet again given the opportunity to share time and space with you, Chrissie. I'm honored and I'm excited and I'm happy, and let me know what is most alive within you right now.
Joy, actually, joy and expansion and excitement and mystery and gratitude and wonder. that is actually what's moving through me a lot this morning. It feels
That's
right.
beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. Feels so
So,
good.
what's the wonder about?
The universe, my friend. The universe. I'm just forever completely in fascination of the universe and the mechanics of it and our place in it. Just yesterday I finished teaching the Munai class, which is one of our trainings at Phoenix, and we just finished yesterday. And the ending lecture is around love and space and what they invoke, the metaphysical force of love and of space, not the emotion of love, the way we've belittled love on our planet. And it's just the most contemplative, awe-inspiring topic, and it's not certainly not a topic that I, like I know all about this. It's not that. It's like I have no idea about this, and it's something that we are exploring as a humanity together. And it just puts me into such an incredible state of heart and mind, Maxie.
Mm,
When these big picture topics that move us from the inside out, not intellectual topics, like heartfelt topics about our heart, our love, our energy. I just find as such good. What do I want to say? Time well spent. Time well spent, energy well spent, contemplating this stuff in a sincere group of seekers, because it just blasts you into a bigger picture. It just blasts you up and out of a lot of the morass that humanity are in right now, in the band of fear of what's this and right, squished down. It just blasts you out of that and has us, I guess, stabilize like 1 foot at least out of the fear band and into, what we're trying to create. Yeah, so much mystery and awe.
mm, that's
Really, yeah.
beautiful. Can
Thank you.
you, can you share a little bit about what those mechanics are? I'm fascinated by love, certainly,
Mm.
and have my very own little, I guess, access to that and experience. I would love to hear what are some of the insights around these teachings.
Okay. Well, happy to share. Absolutely. Um, and to preface it, as I said, I don't know anything here. I'm purely an explorer myself. My late teacher, Liz Gilbert Grad, who was the most powerful heart I've ever come across by very far, this was one of her favourite topics in what she taught us, but how she lived life. And it's it's an exploration, I guess, into, for me anyway, it's an exploration into the connection or the interdependency, I guess, of the power of love, the creative force of nature, not sort of, oh, I feel love for you, which I believe is a bastardization of love. I don't think love is not an emotion, but the real force of love, that Liz and I both feel we haven't really seen on the planet yet.
Mm,
Um, that and space, metaphysical space, and how they work together, and how potentially they are the same thing. I only see that they are very closely connected. That it's almost like you can't have one without the other. And so I wonder if they're the same. But very simply, what I'm deducing is that, in order for us to become, channels or vehicles or conduits for the power of love, rather than this limited idea that I have love to give you, like a possessive idea of love, which is it's a very limited understanding. Rather when we see ourselves as channels for it, conduits for a force to come through us, which enhances everything in its field when it does come through us, we require space. It requires spaciousness. In order for that to happen, in order for us to be, beautiful Native American Indians talk about it being the hollow bone, being a hollow bone for Great Spirit. And, hollow is space. And so, what we see on the planet right now, what I see on the planet is, the vast majority of human beings don't have even an inch of space. They are very, very compacted with their own trauma or baggage or upsets and their own junk in the mind, or their space is, also being impacted by all the noise with what's happening on the planet. And that could even just be, electromagnetic frequencies even impacting on our space. But we have a lot that is impacting our ability to be spacious. And without spaciousness, there's no space or place for the power of love, which is a frequency and requires space. And so, in the work we do in my organization, at my school, is all about creating more space in a being. It's all about us, dropping the heavy rocks, so to speak, that we've collected along the way, all of us in our pockets, and locating them, dropping them, dissolving them, and a modicum of space returns to our beingness, to our spirit. And I think that's the challenge of these times is, how do we stay spacious with all of this horror, wanting to pull us in to its swamp, and that it's very enticing to do. It's very easy to want to form opinions, to get into the fight, to get into the fear, to get into that. And what happens is we slide down that slippery slope into a morass, like a very compact, tight space that is not really where humanity belongs nor thrives. And so, this concept, this discussion, this exploration, Maxi, of inner space, inner space, not only inner space, but space around us, being discerning with space, knowing where to put our body and where not to put our body, so that we can remain buoyant and, with any luck, become conduits for this force, this transformational force of the universe. So that's, I feel like I'm fresh out of that lecture again. I've given that lecture. It's different every time, obviously, but, so many times, and I'm still just floored by it, like humbled to awe about it, and, what our purpose is here as a species, because, we often talk about purpose, and, we've discussed this a lot, and it's a beautiful, noble topic, to wonder about our individual purpose or contribution to help at this time, or just contribution, not even to help. It's just, what's your contribution with your life? But, like at Phoenix, we like to think bigger picture as much as possible. And I like to think of, the cosmic purpose of the human race, in that we do have a purpose as a species in the cosmos, not just for on our planet. And what is that? Like, what is that? I don't know the answer. I ideas, but it's about contemplating that, like, because we're not just here to live and die and just to create peace on Pachamama. There's much more to it, surely.
Yeah.
you know
No,
yeah,
I
so
do. Mm.
yeah, you do. Good.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
history.
Yeah.
Do you think of
I
that much, that stuff, Maxi?
I have the ears to hear you, no? Now I do, and the eyes to see, and the tongue to taste, you know? Uh, it's very, very interesting to have this conversation with you now. I feel like each word you are using, that, contemplation, frequency, spaciousness, deafness, deafness. We can't hear what is actually happening because there's so much noise. These are all, you know, these are the exact words that are really present in my orbit right now that I'm contemplating. That's what I'm contemplating. That's what I'm doing. That's really, and I can't unsee it. Once you see it, like red pill, blue pill, you can't go back, I feel. And that's like God, whatever. He's pushing me. He's like, you can't go back, bro. You go. And so, um, I guess I would love to explore this current frequency, on the individual level, but also for us, as you said, as a species, because something's happening. Something's fucking happening. Like, you can't tell me otherwise. It's just like the time has come, like the future of humanity, it's coming. The future human is coming. And I can feel it within me, it's undeniable. And I don't know. I don't know what it is exactly, but like I'm reluctant to go back, and the deafness is like so loud, which is funny to say in that way, but it has become so loud that I feel like the souls who are here to bring the revolution that is meant to happen anyway, like a choiceless choice, the time is now. Really, that's my understanding, that's my conviction, that's my belief, it's what I'm sensing in my body, certainly. And so I would love to explore that a little bit when you talk about, the future of humanity, the purpose of why it is that we are here, and also the collective sort of mission that we're on, right? And something that you, from what I can see from afar and what I can sense, is what you sort of dedicated your large chunks of your life to, right? To elevate human consciousness in whatever form that you can, within this lifetime. And so, yeah, I guess there's no one else I would right now rather talk to about this. So, yeah, let's. What does that evoke in you?
Oh, beautiful questions. They come with a lot of responsibility, it feels. um, but again, I'm just a student of life. I don't know anything. I really want to make that very clear. I feel a lot, and I guide my life from feeling, but I don't have the answers, for sure. But without a doubt, I feel that our job is to come right back into the frequency of the heart as a species, which is our cosmic HQ. That is, the absolute epicenter of our multidimensional makeup. It's clear, it's obvious, to anyone that looks at, our energy body, our physical body. The heart is without a doubt the wise HQ. And we all know that, but we have become very off kilter as a species. Like we are driving life from the mind, and it is creating all this mess. And it's not fair for us to keep pointing fingers at leaders. We are doing the same thing in our lives. maybe not, committing murders and raping children, as we know is happening, on a wide scale, and it's been going on for thousands of years, this kind of horror. But the same energetics of denial, of manipulation, of control, of lack, fear, greed, power over, all of these we have within us. And it's very immature for anyone to listen and go, oh no, I don't. That's the reptilian mind right there. Thinking that any one of us is completely clear of this stuff. That's the reptilian mind working right there. Denial. And so it really is an inside job to turn this ship around. It's not waiting for the men to stop dropping bombs. We're dropping bombs. Do you know, we all are. Subtle energetic bombs here and there on our family members, or like it's all about us taking full responsibility for our lives and to come right back into the heart frequency. I know that the future of humanity and this renaissance that is coming, this golden era that I can feel absolutely, even though all the stuff on the planet wants to shake that knowing out of me and pull me into fear with everyone else. I'm not doing it. I refuse. I'm holding it. I'm holding a pillar for the greatest outcome with every cell in my body, full somatic pillar. I'm holding that. And that's what is required. We all need to do that. If we're wobbling in fear, you may as well be working for the other side. Like, we need to be holding this pillar somatically, like absolutely, unwaveringly. But that golden future that I see is of incredible potential technological advancement even, and an intellectualism or a use of the mind that serves the heart. It's not to say the mind is not of use, or it's that it's been taken over. Our minds have been taken over, and we're driving it from a junk filled. We're driving life from a junk filled mind. And that is why we're in the mess we're in. We need to, come back to our hearts, clean the mind of all the junk, inner junk, outer junk, so the mind can serve the heart and the heart's visions, the heart's art, the heart's dreaming. What the heart knows, because it's the wise elder in the building. It is the wise elder in the building, not the mind. The mind is just the young apprentice that gets very, very distracted. And we need to reel in that apprentice to serve the wise elder. Like, yes or yes. And that is not easy. I want to say that. Like, that's not a fluffy statement. That it takes hard work, real hard work. Like an initiation process of years to detangle the mind and to slowly and powerfully bring the seat of control back to the wise elder of the heart. It takes years and years, but it is the greatest act of service. It is the greatest act of service. And everyone can do it. It's but we do need good guidance. And so, I've said this before, Maxie, but the rotten dogs, or the people dropping bombs, literally dropping bombs on our planet, and that mob, very well organized. They're very well organized. Us loving mob, us, white hats, the love agents on the planet, we are not organized at all. Because we're in the junk mind of lone wolf. We've been, this egocentric society that's conditioned us all has got us all in lone wolf. So we're all wanting to make it ourselves. We're all wanting to, be the coach and the leader and of ourselves, of my own little business, my own organization, which is just the longest route around for humanity. And rather, we need to be aligning in greater and greater groups and organizations, and being and sacrificing our egotistical visions for self to get on board for humanity, and line up. That's what I see, and that's how I've directed my life whenever I've seen an organization who is working on a topic or a campaign that I know is having or may have more impact than what I'm doing at the moment with my organization. I jump ship and jump over and lend every bit of my energy to that organization or school or whatever it may be, because it's about humanity. It's not about us being. Do you know what I mean, Maxie? You see it everywhere, especially in our industry. Everyone's wanting to be the one, and it's like, can all those like 10 little mini organizations there just join up? Why don't you just all join up? Oh no, we can't, because we won't agree, because of all the baggage. Do you know, like, this is what's going on, and it's like, far out. Can we not just come together and be willing to move ourselves, on behalf of going for the bigger picture? Like, only people that have done enough work can do that. That can really like let go of their own visions, their own ego and name and school or whatever it may be they need to let go of, and align with something that's going a little bit faster than them, that they could get under and support. Do you know, only people that have actually done enough emotional work on themselves can do that, because otherwise the ego is too strong. The I want it to be me, that all comes from baggage. So, it's a time for us all to humble the fuck up, really, this time, and to do the inner work, and inner work that is really, really hard. Not, like where you can hide in groups and online containers. That's not really, really hard work. That's, we need to be, getting into session work and really confronting ourselves and cracking through to layers of vulnerability that we haven't even dreamt exist inside us, like to really like keep deepening, to evolve. And it can be swift, actually. I know earlier we were saying it takes years and years, and I think it does, but at the same time I see people who are ready to change, and when they're decided and they get on board, they can shift up a whole life from living in negative mind to blasting into heart-led purpose, collaboration, selflessness within 6 months. They really can, just from going hard, so to speak, as we say in Australia. Go hard. Like, go hard or go home. Like, year of the horse, it's go hard or go home energy. Like you said, we can't look back. Spirit is pushing us forward. It's not forcing, but it's saying, look, enough of the boring sob stories. Like, enough.
Absolutely.
Let's get over them to serve. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow, that was thank you for that, all of that. I went through a somatic journey myself right now, just when you were talking, tears in my eyes and goosebumps and the whole journey, because I know that, truth is being spoken here, and I so much, so much there. I feel really like the Corpus Christi, that whole age of suffering, that gate, that portal that, Christ has opened. Like, humanity went through it now, the last 2,000 years, and it's ending, it's the new, it's just undeniable. Anyone who, just look around. Like for me, it's like I just can't unsee it. The veil has sort of like and when you take a peek, it comes within this calling of responsibility, what you were saying, and it brings you these people in. And when I was talking about like sessions with you, for example, it's like, this is highly uncomfortable shit, like I actually don't want to do it. Like a
Yeah.
part of me knows that I have to or want to and need to. And then there's another part of me, that's the fear-based kind of, it's like, oh shit, that's going, like, there's no hiding, I will and have and want and, look at that stuff. And so I can just, really talk and speak to that, this is work that you've been probably subconsciously or consciously been avoiding. We've been avoiding these things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now it's like, and that's really for me what surrender truly is, what I always, so like bodily resonated with, like surrender. Oh my gosh, like it's, so tender. But what does it actually mean? The surrender of the individual into the collective purpose, So individual awakening, but collective awakening. And I feel that's what we are seeing, We're seeing this like, that's why everything is falling apart. And it's, in my opinion, it's probably going to get even crazier, like it's gonna like really, because the frequency is not aligned anymore to where we meant to go as a species, it just doesn't fit anymore. Like the codes, they just like don't interweave anymore. So it's impossible for the systems that are based on a fear-based frequency to still have a hold of us going forward, outgrowing this whole thing. And that's why everything is just crashing. And I guess like our responsibility is like, where do we want to place our attention going forward? Because that is what we have ultimately under control, so to speak, or what we can influence. Is like, do I want to, be sad about all of that not being the way that it was, for our parents and grandparents and the stories that they told us, about the things that work? Or are we really paving a new way, And I sense like great creativity, unimaginable based on where we're coming from, unimaginable ways of organizing ourselves, systems, efficiency, no resources wasted, That's the thing. Whenever there's something wasted, energy wasted, I'm like, this is inefficient. This is not like the divine way. And when you look at nature and everything, it is fucking efficient. Like every little tiny thing connects to the next, bam, bam, bam. It's just like, it's perfect, And I guess it just shows us where, we are in a gentle, nice way, actually. It's like, okay, I think there's a misalignment here. Let's bring it back into alignment. And then we can see, oh my God. And then, then we're in alignment again. And, and another thing that's really speaks to me is like this, what you've been talking about. I feel we've been preparing for this also. We've been preparing for this for thousands of years. And that's why, it sometimes feels like, it takes a long time, but it's like this nymph, like the dragonfly's dream. It starts in the water, this nymph, but it crawls up the stalk, humanity has been crawling up for 2,000 of years, or thousands, many years. But now this last piece, of like heightening the frequency, that's swiftly then, that in relation to what has happened underneath, is relatively swift, and I feel like we've been, the souls that incarnate now, we are ready, I'm fucking hyped up about this stuff. Like, this is really what I'm like, I can feel it coming, and yeah, it's like you say, it's been like, I can feel it within me. There's that surrender goes into the collective surrender of like, okay, the dream and a vision I have about what Maxi is going to be doing, like, why am I here? What am I here to bring? All of that kind of stuff. Okay, like I'm this puzzle, I'm like this mosaic puzzle piece on the search and seeking of like exactly what you're saying, you know, like souls who are aligned with where I know I need to be, and can I give up everything that is in the way in order to do that? And it freaks me the fuck out to even say that, but I know it's the truth. I know it's
Yes.
the truth.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. You're excited. You're excited, Maxi, because you have been doing the work. So this time is actually, although it's horror in the 3D, it's wildly exciting for us that have a more than 3D vision.
Yeah.
And that a more than 3D vision and a connection to the more than human world is innate to human beings, but that's what's been conditioned out of us. And for those people that have not been, you know, wanting to develop themselves and their understanding of the meaning of life and of themselves, they will be kicking and screaming through this chapter of huge changes, you know, that are going to happen, you know, for our golden era to really take root in the 3D. Major changes are coming, like, you know, huge changes that, you know, a lot of people will not be able to cope with because they haven't got the bigger vision of self, of spirit, of humanity, and of the evolutionary process. And so that's why we have been, I'm sure, to have been kicking and screaming, trying to get people to do their work so that this period is of more ease for them. Like, do the work so you can face the next chapter. Because yes, it's a choice now. Everyone has a choice whether they are going to stay in fear and go down with the ship, so to speak, you know, really suffer from fear, or rise into creation and knowing, you know, of the true power of humanity and what is available to us. Like that is exciting. That's very exciting. And yeah, it's, you know, you know, unfortunately, the people that, you know, are sort of heavily asleep, let's say, and there's no judgment on that either. Like, you know, that they are also a piece of the puzzle. Do you know, they are also playing a role cosmically, absolutely. But unfortunately, when we are in that band of fear, because we haven't dissolved our own baggage that is hooking into the fear, when we dissolve that and we unhook from the manufactured fear game, do you know, only then can we feel like we have true choice to respond to what is happening in life. When we are inundated by fear, it feels like we have no choice. It feels like our back is against the wall, we're in the corner, we're forced, you know, and that's how most people feel. And I know that from the one-on-one work I do with hundreds of people. When fear is strong, people feel like they have no choice in life, and it's not the truth. We have divine will and choice in every moment, but we're just, unfortunately, as individuals and as a species, too full up of noise. To be harnessing that divine choice to drive this ship in the right direction. And so that is why the individual work is so important, to come out of fear, to stop living through fear and counting money and, oh, have I got enough? Like, all of that is fear. You know, that rattles people. What do you mean? That's everyday life. That's the economic system. No, you're in the fear game. You're in the fear game. You're in the reptilian mind game. If you're worried about finances. And do you know, it's like it is so limited relative to the abundance of this world, the abundance of the universe, the abundance of energy, of light, of water, of food, of soil. To like, there's no lack.
Yeah.
There's no lack here. There's no lack here.
Yeah.
But we have believed there is, and so we're hooked into the game that's just going to drag people along into a very boring future. And so, yeah, I just am passionate about, impressioning on all of us that it is an inner job, that freedom is an inside job. It's not waiting to see if any more bombs are going to be dropped and which next president is going to be elected. What the heck? Like, it's just a reflection of what's going on in here. Like, we have to unhook here and create that spaciousness, like, I'm saying. And then when we do, then we can actually be of service.
And, when people are in that frequency, even one person acting as a conduit for this, transmission to come through and be embodied, it goes such a long way. It's like, whoa, and it'll probably rattle up the cages of people who are really, and trapped in their fears. And,
Good.
I think we have to even speak to that. Like, when I started now more and more expressing that and just being it, I don't even have to say anything. I just just emanates. It gets pretty uncomfortable, It gets uncomfortable for people around you, and especially, it's all about frequency anyway. So, based on the frequency that I was emanating, drawing certain people in, repelling others. Now, it's sort of like it shifts, And
yes.
When it's choiceless choice. I can't go back, and I, like you say, refuse to go back. And it's like all of these, yin and yang. It's like the complexity of the world leads to a greater simplicity in what it is that I actually want to do and what I feel where the key is. To live a simple life. What does that even mean? A simple life. You just look down on your hands, and it's just like, the hands dictate the tempo, We have lost rhythm and tempo. We type away, and the world is just like, shoo. It's just like, can I just pick up a leaf? Can I just like do one thing at a time and find this, that it's all there already. Man, I there's so much of that, and deafness and understanding on the other side. Like, it's like I can't hear, but then when I listen, there's the epiphany. I know. Oh, I know. There's such great poetry woven in this, in these realizations that I can truly feel. So I guess what I want to speak a little bit about is, okay, so we've spoken about community. So it's important what you've also shared with me in our last session. Hold on to each other. Find people that, walk this path and connect with them. Reach out to them and, join forces. What else can we do? What else is necessary?
Look, I think just gathering with others as a practice, because we've become so lone wolf and we spend so much time, and like a lot of damage was done, to the social fabrics of humanity with COVID, and that was on purpose. Really smashed us, where a lot of people have stayed in the habit of not going out and of not going to the shops instead of ordering online, and like breaking out of that is also a wonderful act of rebellion, or sacred activism is just to keep gathering people, whether that's your friends for Sunday lunch, regularly, or things with sort of more of a focus, whether that's, women's circles, men's circles, events, whatever. But really just even gathering with people with similar passions, knitting clubs, book clubs. It might sound simple, but it is actually very, very powerful, because that's when we remember our humanity and how similar we all are. And that's when we heal, and that's when we open our hearts, is when we're with others. And so at the very least, we could all be, making a commitment to gather people more. Like, how often do you, I want to ask the listeners, how often do you gather people to your home for a meal? Like, some people never do it. A lot of people never invite their friends over for meals. I'm not talking about just one friend at a time. I'm talking about a group of friends, even if they don't know each other. To introduce, to create other connections, like to facilitate other relationships forming. Like, what has happened to us as a race? Do you know, like this idea of giving, creating value and pleasure for others. Not just, I couldn't be bothered, I need to rest, I. It's like we actually gain energy from being with people, from listening to stories, to sharing stories, to breaking bread together. And so, I think that's a very powerful way, Maxi, for us to break out of sickness, again, of the mind, that tells us, oh, you're so tired. Oh, there's not enough hours in the week. Oh, you don't have enough money to put on a dinner party. Hey, look, make pumpkin soup. Cost you $5. Potatoes, onions, garlic soup. Boil, blend. Someone bring a loaf of bread. Cost you $4 or $5. Like, these excuses that we make to not gather. We've got to catch them, these fears, and break the back of them powerfully, and not keep living solo lone wolf lives. So that's what I think everyone can do. Wouldn't you agree? That's a really simple thing we could all confront in ourselves. Like, could everyone commit to having a lunch or a dinner once a week at their home? 3 or 4 people, 10 people, the family, friends, new friends, your work colleagues that you would never think of having over. Could you have them over? Why
Absolutely.
not? What is that? Like, this is, this shows our humanity.
Yeah.
Or not.
So much. And when you do so, I feel like that it even is that to say that, but like, be courageous in being yourself, because just based on that frequency, people can truly meet you,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I attracted people sometimes based on a persona that's not even fully authentic to what I was feeling, or what my convictions were. So now what I'm saying, like, when you go into the workplace, when you go into the family, like, give people the chance to truly see you, and let spirit, do the rest. My guess is you will be surprised who joins the party,
Yeah.
Sometimes, oh my God, like, that's what I've been feeling, like, yeah, but you have to, give people the opportunity to, see that within you, so they can see it within themselves, Yeah, so fuck yeah, let's do these, do the gatherings, and I would just like to, because I can hear, like, what you say, and it's not like one-on-one session work here, because it's a podcast. So in something that sort of like fits this format, when someone is listening and they don't have the immediate one-on-one where somebody calls them in. It's just like, okay, I can actually see that that's fear talking here right now. Can you share a little bit about, like, what do you feel like is important to share with people when embarking on this journey of like not giving into this game? What's going to happen, what to be aware of, and what to sort of, you know, what can we do? What can we do? Like we can gather in community, but there will be, challenges. I can certainly
Yeah.
speak to that. How do
Yeah.
we best handle them?
Yes, excellent question. What I absolutely know is that when we are deciding to break out, so to speak, of the status quo, that's been set up for thousands of years, that has had us in this fear game, and not expanded spiritual creative beings, not operating like that anyway, is that you must have solid support from people who are further down the track on that path from you. It's not going to work doing it on your own and employing the lone wolf mentality. You're going to get smashed, because as soon as you pop your head out, all the negativity of the world and of people around you that are, what's she doing? What do you mean? Why is she living fearlessly? What do you mean she's quitting her job? What do you mean she's moving overseas? What do you mean you're doing this? All the cynicism and the negativity of that game will go for you. And, while we're new to it and we're finding our feet are wobbly. And that's when we need the most support and protection. And where do we get that? From a solid community who have already done that work and who can support you. And so, my organization is definitely one of them. This is absolutely what we are all about, is activating hearts and souls out of that game and supporting you through the walk out of it. So much so that when people come and work with us, I'm pretty much on speed dial for everyone. And anytime that they go down, shit, help me. Okay, right. Have you looked over your right shoulder? Have you looked over it? What's that? Got it. Right, back on track. Like, we need to be leaning into our elders, guides, and teachers. If we're not leaning into our elders, guides, and teachers regularly, we're still in the lone wolf, egocentric, fear-based game. Do you see? So it absolutely requires that humility of being able to reach out. Now, a lot of people, because of their upsets and their trauma and their upbringing and whatever occurred to them, have got a mindset of having to be strong. That's a very common program, having to be strong. Now, that can be set up because maybe you were the eldest child, and it was your job to look after everyone, or maybe you didn't have parents and so you had to become an adult. Look, there are so many things that happen in our world that result in people creating a belief that they have to be strong. And I would say probably 85% of us humans have got that going on. And until we dissolve that, we'll always try and do things on our own instead of reaching out for support. And my teacher Liz used to always say, you take one matchstick and you flick it and you easily break it. Easy. Take 10 together, you cannot break them. And this is what is so important right now, that we are all standing very solidly, left and right, behind or next to, with allies that are walking the same path as us, that are on speed dial. Not just people that we're listening to podcasts of. No, actually in contact with and could contact them every day. This is what is required to walk out of that game, because the fear is stronger than ever, trying to convince people more than ever. But as conversely, luckily, there is a slipstream, a support for people wanting to pop out of this that's stronger than ever. It really is. Like, now is a really good time to get on board. But you've got to know what you're getting on board with and literally put 2 feet on that solid board. Do you know where you're going and who you're going with? Like we just had a beautiful course run at Phoenix called the Rainbow Compass.
Mm.
Mind-blowing journey of 7 medicine women teaching us from their altars and traditions about the 7 directions. And one of the greatest lessons that I learned from the direction of south, which was delivered to us by Faya, Maori lineage carrier, medicine woman, powerful woman, my God. She talked about, in the direction of the south for her people, for the Maori people, the direction of the south was about getting in the canoe and carrying the canoe together and knowing who is in that canoe with you. You gotta fucking know who's in the canoe with you. You got to know who's right behind you, who's right in front of you, what their role is, what your role is, what his role is. Everyone knows what we're doing, and we're all together and we're going together. And this is the energy, Maxi. When I talk about organization, like we've got to get closely aligned with our elders, teachers, guides right now. Like sit right underneath them and support them. What do you need? What do you need now? Because what I also want to illuminate is that more than ever, leaders that are heart-led, that are doing our best to get humanity out of this mess, they need more support than ever. And the egocentric society model has us think that people that are leaders and are strong are at the top of some freaking triangle, which is the egocentric model, right? And it's bullshit. But it has us thinking, oh, they don't need support. They're strong. They should support me. And it's actually the opposite. Like we are going to be supported more by giving our support, getting behind a leader that we trust and giving them everything all the support we can. That's what lifts and takes us up. It's getting aligned and backing and knowing who's in the canoe and whose canoe you're in, and working closely, in greater pods. This is it. And so this whole lone wolf thing really does require to be dissolved swiftly. And if anyone listening knows they have that I have to be strong, have to do it alone, have to prove myself, and as I said, I think we've all got threads of that. Lean in. We can dissolve that with you in session. It's one of the most powerful things to dissolve, because it's a huge tether to the insanely sick society that Krishnamurti, masterfully reminded us of. There's no measure of health to be aligned with a sick society. No, it's not healthy to be living in that society and under its rules. All of its rules.
Yeah.
I
so agree. Yeah.
Get out of that and align, swiftly with people that are actually going somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, the creative rebel, that's what comes. Creative rebel, the benevolent rebel, you can be a rebel and just run around destroying things. No, you know, we are the benevolent creative rebels coming up with solutions and ways of being that previously have been unimaginable just because we based it upon false mechanics, and beliefs. And you wouldn't believe what's possible when that changes. And I just, it just so much, it moved me profoundly to just witness, your journey and when, how do I even say that? You talked about sacrifice, and I can just I feel sometimes I'm young. in that body, I have a couple of years under my belt, and then I tune into these conversations with you, and I look at, I see you every day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she is really, she's walking that path, and you have 2 children, and to walk the path like you do, and to sacrifice what so many of us, and a previous version of myself would have wanted to hold on to satisfy like a lower frequency need and desire, and to like live that, it takes, I believe it takes a lot. And I just want to say that I really have been seeing that recently within you, and I just like, it's really moving. And I'm just so humbled to, I don't know, even be now in touch with, the teachings of you, and someone that really also not just talks about this, but really lives that. So yeah, it's really beautiful, and you're a great inspiration for many, and just wanted to also share that with you. Yeah.
My brother. Thank you. Thank you. I'm just really letting that sink in. Means a lot. Means a lot. It seems like whatever you do, people are going to try and pull you down. Like if you're doing good work, if you're doing bad work, if whatever you're doing, there are going to be people that will use and twist anything that you may have done or said or lived, or to try and, I guess I just speak from first person. I have just undergone so much horrendous stuff, actually. And like stuff that nearly killed me, stuff that nearly, literally, and stuff that nearly, and just like, walked through so many fires of, even assassination attempts, like full on shit. And it's funny, like, for so many years I didn't want to talk about that. It was kind of like it's almost like I didn't want to give it power, or I don't know. And just your beautiful acknowledgement there. And I think just with the shifting energies of the year of the horse, and, I feel like I'm, just really ready to claim how much incredible tenacity and hard work I have had to do and display to keep holding this.
Mm-hmm.
Keep holding this for humanity.
Yeah.
Like, it's been big.
Yeah.
And I'm still here, and I'm not going anywhere. Much to the enemy's horror, I'm not going anywhere, and I am more committed than ever to keep just being that beacon for people to remember that their life can be, and life should be on our planet, extremely joyful and beautiful. That is our birthright.
Yeah.
And it's we're getting closer. We're getting closer. Yeah, thank you so much, Maxie. That was really, really beautiful. Touched me.
Yeah, thank you for everything, and and keeping that pure heart and that innocence and purity. That is, that's so rare. When I look around, it's just the tendency to close off and harden up. It's understandable. Like, it's I can see that. I can have compassion for that. But also within myself, just like always finding that compassion towards my own heart, and just like, oh my gosh, like, there's hurt there, there's hurt and all of that. What now? what now? Is that now like another 50 years of hardening or what? Like, am I just like, no. Every day, every minute, every breath, I can, just give God the opportunity to, soften. And when I do, then he can speak and I can listen, and sometimes he talks or maybe he clears his throat and I can hear something. And, yeah. Oh man, so beautiful.
You're beautiful, Maxi. You are. Yeah. You're a beautiful man. Beautiful heart. Sincere, true. It's such a relief.
Yeah, I know. I've forgotten, but I'm coming. It's happening. It's happening. And I'm scared of it, and I don't know a lot how that's all gonna look like. And in 15 minutes, I'm gonna be sitting at my desk with different people, and I will I'll carry the torch.
Yes.
I'll light the fires. Boom.
That's
boom.
it. That's it. Because essentially you are walking what we're talking about. I mean, so am I. We all are. But you are actually right now, like fully in that amazingly brave place where you've got one foot in one world and one foot in the other. And you're like, I'm going that way, like you say. But like you say, you're off to your job now to be in a place that you feeling you might be outgrowing, whatever it is. But you are walking it bravely, and I commend you. I commend you for being willing to do it, even though you don't know where the heck it's leading you to. Like, that is what is required. The birth canal, the darkness, the fuck, where am I going? I don't know. I just know I've got to go that way.
Yeah.
Like, that's brave shit.
Absolutely.
And that's the essence of these times. That's what's required for all of us. Yeah. So let's do it together.
Let's do it. And I'm excited for all of us. Thank you for sharing time and space with me, and thank you for just being, like I said, who you are, bravely walking and carrying that torch of truth. I can, with every cell of my body, feel and relate to how that is and how that must be and must have been. And I'm really, really fucking excited to see and feel, and be part of that new, to that revolution that's gonna come, which ultimately culminates in a rebirth of society and the systems that we clung on to support us. It's time for something new. So thank you.
Absolutely. It's an honor. It's beautiful to be with you. Yeah. So much, Maxie, for the conversation and the time.
Hey, beautiful listener, you have made it all the way through. And I want to take a moment to say thank you. And you can do me an enormous favor. It's all I'm gonna ever ask from you. And that is to go to your podcast app right now. And if you enjoyed the episode, give the podcast a 5-star rating. If you want to write 1-2 words or sentences, even more powerful, even better. Thank you, already in advance. And also, while you're at it, just click on that follow button, on that bell notification, so that you never miss a new episode. All of that just contributes, and it helps me to increase the reach of the podcast. That means I can attract bigger guests, and that means I can deliver more powerful episodes. So it's a tiny thing. I'm only gonna ask this little favor of you not more. 10-15 seconds of your time, a couple of clicks, that's it. makes a huge difference for me as a creator. So thank you so much.